This is a video for the Shozy 1.4, which you just saw in a close-up. It's a single dynamic driver. I've been told it's beryllium coated, and it's got 4 balanced armatures. The music used today, Tupac, really the whole album I listened to in parts. But mostly I focused on Point the Finger and the title track, Strictly for My Niggas, because I love those songs. I thought today that I should have got that framed instead of All Eyes on Me. I love that album, but this is the one that I used in car audio and in my life more often. Point the Finger, Yin Yang Twin, Salt Shaker. I used that on here and also on the DX160 because the DX160 has a PEQ, and I now make a habit of adding, instead of talking about stuff, I'm gonna show stuff since that's what we do around here. I'll let that go. Salt and Pepper, Push It, which was by chance because it was next to something else while I was doing a search, and that's going to be my knowledge bomb. Aerosmith, No More, No More. Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf. Violent Femmes, Please Do Not Go. Big Boy, Kill Jill. Metallica, Fade to Black. That's the music that I listened to come to my conclusion today. Let me go ahead and take a quick look at the DX160. I hope you guys can see it. It should still be. That's the track, Salt Shaker by Yin Yang Twins, and go ahead and play it. It's not playing anything. It'll turn on. It says, there it is. Let me tap it for you. 60 hertz, 16 dB, bandwidth Q factor of 0.7. That's what I use to see if something's going to choke out. And you'd be surprised. If they don't choke out, they sometimes, I'll give you examples of stuff that chokes. This does not, thankfully. Nor does this one, actually, because I tested both of them. I did a lot of comparing between the Ico OH10 and also this because they're similar in price, in maybe target audience, so it's a natural comparison. Plus, I think these two could be what you would choose. If you got this already, would you need to get this? No. If you think that this fit is a little uncomfortable but you like its sound, you might actually like this. If you like the Dunu DK3001 or what you heard about it, but it's a little expensive, this graph's just like it. Let me take a look at the graphs real quick. This is it by itself, this set right here. The bass is elevated. Those are 10 dB blocks. That's up by about, I'd say 6.5. Doesn't sound like it though. Again, like the Dunu DK3001 Pro, I expected more. Same thing for the Shozy. The potential's there, but it doesn't sound like it looks. Again, the limits of graphs. Transition to the treble, the 1K slope, again, it's hitting about 5.5, and then it's going into its unique signature in the treble, which is really not that offensive. compare it with the so far well-received Dunu DK, and that's got a couple elevations that are a little higher. That doesn't mean really anything. And the bass of the Shozy is a little bit more than the Dunu. Maybe that's why I didn't feel inspired to immediately go to the DX, while I did actually feel that way with the Dunu. So I would think that this is very similar to that, more so than this. But since this is in my case, this is what I did most of the comparison with. I guess I might compare these at a later date. If they sound very much alike, I would feel like I wasted my time, because I'm looking at basically an amplitude scale, and there doesn't seem to be anything that should be jumping out. Maybe the Shozy's bass a little bit more? Not that much, really. Let's get back to the music. So Tupac, Point the Finger. This is a very grinding bass. It's like a... And if you listen to lower quality gear, you might think that the lyrics are kind of a secondary factor, and actually it's not true, because this is like a message from Tupac. I thought I hit rock bottom of the band, my album, Point the Finger. I guess nobody loves a real nigga / rap singer. I thought I'd bring them a little truth to the young troops. I brought proof that the niggas need guns too. It's not to be a racist, but let's face this. Wouldn't you if we could trade places? I got lynched by some crooked crows, and to this day the same. And there's a story about him running in. He actually shot a cop in Atlanta, I think. And they had guns that were taken out of evidence room without permission, which led him to not getting charged with shooting at police officers, because they would have gone to jail as well. That's part of the reason he didn't go to jail for that. This album is fucking classic. If you are into Tupac and you listen to this album, I would recommend that you get this one. This was when he was very angry. This would be like Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, where the emotions are coming through the music. The emotions are coming through this album more than Me Against the World, more than All Eyes on Me, where he was DJ Quick and Johnny J, and all those guys were kind of excellent at what they do, and I love the mastering of that album, but the raw emotion, like Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, is this. In the hip-hop world, it's this album right here. Nobody else comes close to this, in my opinion. Yin Yang Twin Salt Shaker, that was on this. It takes it, 16 dB, 60 hertz, not a problem. Salt and Pepper. Listen to this to try to track bass, and I thought it sounded good. It's my quality is Red Book, pretty much. It sounds decent. The notable thing would be the left-right panning, which sounded really nice, and I don't think I'd really picked up on that. So far the bass is fine. It's not enough that it's getting in the way of the lyrics on a grinding bass track like Point the Finger, but it's not making me think, where's the EQ? I did that strictly for the purpose of habit, just to see, can it take an elevation? Someone says, hey, can I put these up? You can put these up, bro. If you got an EQ, good to go. You're not going to have any problems with that. Aerosmith, No More, No More. Again, this is something where I get to check 3 things at one time in one track. It's a DSD. Does it matter? Doesn't hurt. No More, No More. I'm checking the cymbals. Cymbals have a lifespan. They're born and they die. And if the treble is cut off a little premature, the cymbals will sound abrupt. And if there's elevation in the treble that's maybe in the wrong place, they might sound like they last too long, which was something that happened with the AQ3. The cymbals sounded like the splash versus a crash, which is a cymbal crash is something that happens. A splash is water hits the drop, water, waves. It implies something that lasts longer. Crash is what I'm looking for, and that's what I get on this track. The piano, which is mixed slightly back in its best version, doesn't really seem very audible on stuff that's got weak mids. The piano sounds fine on this, and I was concerned about that because the Salt and Pepper track was just okay in resolution, but I'm looking now after I go down, that was the quality of that file. I don't listen to that track that much, so I really didn't know. It's on my boombox, if you've ever seen my Instagram, but I don't really listen to it on my audio gear so much, so that's lack of familiarity with this file, not the track, the file quality that I have, and also compare it to stuff I know better, and actually I'm fine. The piano's great. It sounds slightly back like it's supposed to. I'm catching the keys. Again, a piano will cross all across your audible range. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, the fundamental and the harmonics covers the whole thing. If there's a recessed area, you're going to notice it. If there's, usually it's the mids that you would be checking for with a piano. The cymbals would be getting me already before the piano kicks in if the treble is fucked up. And so we're doing good. Steven Tyler sounds good. So Aerosmith, this is a really critical. You guys can check back. I've been using this for a long time. This is where stuff gets wrecked or not. Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf, I'm checking it just because it's so hard for stuff that's dynamic driver based to get it right. Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, the track's called Sweet Leaf. It doesn't sound really great. Somebody said, why isn't the P1 on your list? If we were going on resolution only, the P1 would be on my list. It would probably be number one because the best IEM playback that I've had is the Odyssey, those planars, and also the P1s. This sounds like I'm there. And in everything else it doesn't, including this set and every other dynamic and BA set. They just don't touch it. But the clarity was excellent on what is a hazy track. 250 to 322 is the timestamp for drum, bass, guitar, basically a solo. And the drums, he's sweeping the kit several times. It's a really good listen. So if you want to listen to Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf, 250 to 322, the drums, the bass, the guitar, they're all coming in really clean. A little more than I expected, which is why I looked back up at the Salt and Pepper track and thought, that's not a good quality track. Not going to be using it in the future, so the K-Bomb is good because that'll probably be it for that. Next track would be Big Boy, which is right here. And I'm going to be using this more because it's got two types of low end, plus it's got the intro vocals, which is a Japanese voice woman, which is really high. And on something with, elevated treble, that might become offensive. It sounds beautiful on this set. This is when I started becoming more convinced that this was the set I thought it was last night. I should have used the same music that I did, but I'll settle on some common stuff. There's two low frequency, and of course it affects everything else because if the bass is taken over, that's where the balanced armatures and hybrids, as long as there's cohesion between the two, then you're good to go. There's a 33-second timestamp big drop. That's where we go from boom. That would be dope. If you got a car audio, get this track and check out the 33 hit. And then at 46 is a bass line that's backing up the deck drop. And they're both low frequency events happening, and there's lyrics by Big Boy, God, who else is in that track? Oh, right there. Killer Mike and Jeezy are both in that track. They all sound fine. Male vocals sound great, and they're getting leaned on by a bass hit constantly, and also a bass guitar from 46 seconds. Really good, really clean. So much so that I thought, I'm going to keep using this. It's got two very nice, distinct, low-frequency events that are occurring. I know exactly when they start, and they start to pair and continue, and they can cause issues with clarity of the male vocals. On this set, they're not, and I did hear them do that with the AQ3, so this would be a good track to keep going with, so I will do that. The last track that I went with was, I did Violent Femmes, Please Do Not Go. Went fine. That was the final track I checked, but the last one that I'm going to do with you guys, let's go and sweep through this. I was going to do another HIJKL. And Marvin Gaye, Metallica, the gratuitous fuck you for the Napster shit. And there's a track called Fade to Black. I talked about this before, and I actually did a knowledge bomb about this, and he was talking about how he was worried because it was the first time they did a ballad, and they thought the fans might be a little like, what? And I was like, what? But the intro, the acoustic intro was just fucking brilliant on this set, and 57 seconds timestamp forward, it starts kind of dun 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 dun. The drums are coming in. It's a beautiful fucking song. But the beginning, you can hear the squeaks and shit that he was worried about, and you can check that on Wikipedia about this song. And that for an OCD person, I need those little moments, because when they're not there, they're all there on this set. Whether you get this set or not is going to come after this. So as far as music playback, bass is great. It's better than the other one that's quite like it, which is the Dunu. That I thought I need to up the bass. Like no matter what I'm listening to, I need to add a little to that. This comes out the box a couple dB up. And it's not bothering the mids. Everything, all the mid info is coming in fine. The treble is not offensive. This is not in a sonic way leaning in any bad direction. Also, the fit is really good. It's got little wood faceplates on it. It's beautiful. I didn't like Shozy so much at the beginning because it seemed like they took what was called the hibiki and they just re-shelled it 3 times. According to Graphs, if I recall correctly, and I was like, man, forget it. And communications with them was spotty. I don't like people getting in my business. You want me to review it? I'll review it. Please don't. Leave me alone. I got stuff to do. I'm not a YouTuber, man. I do this because I love music and I love the gear. So the guy from that company, this is through the seller Linsol, so I don't got to deal with them. I don't even, judging by the quality of the gear, I think it's not even the same people that are tuning this stuff. So that would be a plus in my book. Did I do the cable? Just in case, let me go check that out. Because this is supposed to be knowledge. Brain food. The original version of Push It was first released as the B-side to the 12-inch single Tramp in 1987. I did not know that. I did not know that one of the most classic 80s hip-hop beats was the B-side to a track that I don't know if I've ever heard it. I don't know. Have you ever heard Salt and Pepper Tramp? Congratulations if you have. I've never heard of it. I think everybody's heard Push It. Everybody and their kids, for Christ's sakes. That's been in movies and TV shows. Tramp? I don't know. So that's the knowledge bomb for today. Now to get to do I wreck the set? In the price range of $100 to $200, I think it is maybe better than the Voyager 3, which I think is my best thing. If you prefer dynamic driver bass, and if you think that's ridiculous, it's the way it is. If I had to pick something, I think I'd pick dynamic drivers because I don't think the BAs can quite do the same thing. But my favorite IEM is the Voyager right now, and that's BAs. So. And I loved the Unholy VX, and that's BAs only. But if you think I like dynamic driver bass, I don't think BAs can do it, then I would recommend this over the Voyager 3 because it in fact has a dynamic driver and it is a beryllium driver. I believe that makes a difference. Believing that makes it true. That's the placebo effect of having a belief. I believe beryllium improves the stiffness and the response of the dynamic driver laid over a PET Mylar bass, which is most of the drivers that you listened to when you were a kid, and up till now, all the coated ones. Same as a Coca-Cola bottle. But thinner, PET Mylar. It's plastic. This is like sprayed on or put on beryllium, but it stiffens it and it makes it so the bass hits, it's microseconds faster. So the information seems, you don't get that veil that you get when a driver like a MDR XB 1000 is doing a big bass hit, and you got to veil over the mids because the driver simply can't get back in time, or the reflection within the shell. I think with the Sony 70mm it was just so much bass and such a big driver. They put a bass lens in the audiophile version of the 70mm, the MA900s, which I love to fucking death. But if you believe that dynamic drivers are the way to go, then I would wreck this set in the $100 to $200 range. If you've got this set and you love it, you don't need to move. So, but in my ranking, I keep, for my own mental stability, like what did I say was the best? I would probably say this would be the best one because it has balanced armatures, it has a dynamic, it's beryllium coated, it takes care of the low end, it's got a 3-way crossover, so it's got the 3 frequencies. It's got the bass, the mids, and the treble that are being separated by physical drivers. Technically, this would probably be the superior set to the all-BA Voyager. So I would rec this over that set. Price, I can't get into that because there's so much good stuff that's cheaper, like the Belon, and there's stuff that's much more expensive, so I won't even get into that. Okay, there we go. Why is everything coming in bed? And that's it. I'm out of here. So do I wreck it? Yeah, it's gorgeous. And I think I might change the cable, even though I like the cable, but these are heavy, man. I know I train, I do sports, but these are like fall out of your ear and break the screen of a DAP. I worry about shit like that. If you got this, you don't need to move. If you're looking to upgrade, this probably be... People ask me about the Sony N3AP. That's one of my top 5 all-time, regardless of price range. That's IER Z1R is basically a model of the N3A. Like the way the drivers are positioned is very similar. It's get the N3A if you can someday. That is an absolute classic. And now I'm out before I start rambling.